Alright, we're back on sports, and you know what? It's been a good week, I should say, a good weekend for sports. And I put it like this, alright? First off, I guess I should start off with the Philadelphia Flyers. I started off with them last week. I feel as though I should start off with them this week again. Now, Philadelphia Flyers. Phil, as you know, they've been winning some games, but look, they're heart attack games. These games still aren't that good. I understand that we're still in this rush. We talked about it last week, about, you know, the previous 7 seasons. They've been nothing but trying to get to the playoffs, still trying to, to cross that hump, still trying to get over the hump. But what happened last night against the Hurricanes was good, but also bad. Because we've seen this time and time again throughout the season. You know, the Hurricanes go up, the Flyers come back. They had like 43 seconds left in the game. Flyers come back to tie the game. Then in overtime, they score. Now look, all right. While it's all fun, like I said before, fun and dandy, it's all fine and sunshines and rainbows for everyone to get excited about that. But let's look at reality here. The Flyers gave up 3 goals, number 1. Number 2, you shouldn't have to keep trying to pull wins out of your ass that way because it really does make you look bad. Let's be honest. Look, people, when your team is constantly on the bubble like this when it comes to these games, and they are constantly in a mode where it's urgency, constant urgency. It's never to a point where they're so dominant that you can actually relax. No, because, no, that wouldn't be Flyers hockey now, would it? But when you're having things like this, like I said, you're dealing out salt. Hurricane fans were mad. They were salty. But still, as a Flyers fan, it's kind of like, guys, you got to stop this heart attack shit. You really have to because it hurts you. It hurts you more than it helps. It does. If anything, you're telling the league, yeah, we have resolve, we can fight back, but you're not fighting right away. So if a team gets to jump on you and then decides to just keep the ball rolling, you're in trouble. And it seems like that's what it is. It's sending the message that if you get to us early, then we're in trouble. And I'll put it like this, if you get to us early, then it looks like we'll have to play your game. That's another thing, because no one really plays the Flyers game. They don't play their type of game at times. You know what I mean? Most of these times when they're in these type of situations, they have to play the other team's game. Oh, looks like we have to skate faster. We got to be more aggressive. We have to do this. We have to do. It's constantly something. You're playing the other team's game, and that is something that you can't do. You know what I mean? Look, the game is already fast as it is. You're on skates. You're on ice. You know what I mean? They call it the greatest game on ice. But you have to understand that you should be able to control the game, especially neutral ice, when it comes to these type of situations. You should have beat the Hurricanes. You did beat the Hurricanes, but it shouldn't have been that close as far as I'm concerned. No way, no how. Okay? However, let's move on, shall we, to March Madness. That's right, March Madness. Now, you're probably thinking, well, you're probably not going to talk about the Sixers that much this week. Yeah, you're right. I'm not going to talk about the Sixers that much this week, or the NBA in general, due to the fact that March Madness has taken over here. It's absolutely taken over. Matter of fact, it's taken over everywhere. Now we're seeing kids in schools find ways to watch March Madness, that's right, while being in class. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is real teamwork. Hell, that's better teamwork than what I've seen with some of these teams in this tournament. Look, I put it like this. When you have to ask a guy, look, can I tape this on your back so I can watch it during class? Teamwork. Absolute teamwork. Understand it. You get an A for effort as far as I'm concerned. But what's hilarious about this is all the upsets that we have seen. It is absolutely hilarious. Now, of course, Nova, we could talk about Villanova to the sky is red at this point. Not even, the cows come home. But as we know, Villanova usually chokes. They do. Last season, they had a miracle season. And I was really hoping that Villanova would go deeper into this tournament this year. You know what I mean? Even a chance that they would probably win and go back-to-back. That would really help, a lot of those fans. It would be interesting to see. But it didn't happen. They lost. And it was really interesting because, you got to think, a lot of these top-seeded teams have been getting bodied left and right. You got to think, Villanova lost. Even before that, we saw Maryland lose. We saw Louisville lose to Michigan. You know what I mean? We saw Duke lose. Like, it was just crazy. And here's the thing. That's the funniest one out of that Duke losing. Because do I need to remind people exactly the draft grade that, some of these teams got? Duke was at the top of the charts when it came to their drafting process this season. And another team that I was really hoping would get bounced was Gonzaga. And I say this due to the fact that anyone's been watching the way the Zags play, throughout not just this season, but a number of seasons. Adam Morrison. There was always this hype about Gonzaga where people thought they would go all the way, and then Gonzaga would kind of choke. But this season, they were talking about how Gonzaga's bracket, their conference, it's so easy that Gonzaga can just skate through this entire thing. So I find that really funny because I was hoping that Gonzaga would lose simply the fact that everybody thought that this was going to be a real thing this year. And I put it like this. To see the Zags, the way they was putting people on their back this weekend, all right, and having fans cry seriously. How you make little kids cry, Gonzaga?
These Northwestern fans have been riding an emotional roller coaster as Benson picks up his fourth.
And that's one thing I have noticed throughout this entire tournament. I'm seeing a lot of teams, when they score, celebrate very prematurely for some reason. You'll be down by like 10 points, and you're still celebrating that you knocked down a shot. I've seen a number of ill-advised, horrible decisions made by a number of teams. All right, there's no way you should be taking, when you're getting double-teamed, all right, taking a three-pointer 5 feet behind the arc. I don't understand this. Obviously, there's a man open. You should give it to him. I don't understand these type of things. Now, look. Not only is this a player problem, okay, because you should be smart and know this. Like when you're down by 1 point, all right, let's chuck up threes. Why would you do that? That doesn't make sense. Go to the basket, try and draw the foul. That's what you do when you're down by 1 point with 10 seconds left. But leave it to teams to just keep trying to do these things. I don't understand it. Everyone has fallen in love with the three-pointer. Everybody wants to shoot the three-pointer, especially when you don't need to at times. I've noticed a number of times, especially in the Michigan game, even though Michigan came back and won. Michigan, at one point, when they were playing Louisville opened the door for them a number of times, all right, throughout the game. Michigan would only be down by like 3 points or 4 points. What would Michigan do? Chuck up the three every time. And then they would miss, then Louisville would go on a run. And then Michigan would have to battle back, get some stops, and go on a run themselves. You made it harder than what it needed to be. All right? I don't understand why these type of things are happening in these games with these players, but then again, it could be a reflect of coaching, okay? So that could be it. Now, it's interesting that we've seen a number of these type of things, throughout the entire weekend. Because, like I said, teams are just really not. Understand, look, these are kids still. Even though I think some of them are a bunch of grown-ass men. You got guys out there that are 18, 19 years old. They're thinning. Their hair is thinning. You got dudes with beards. I'm sorry, you can't tell me at 18, 19 years old, dudes look like they're 40 out there. I have a problem with that. I don't care if you've been red-shirted for a number of years. I don't care. Okay? The fact is, something is going on with NCAA when it comes to their football and their basketball. These guys, I'm not trying to hear it's genetics. I'm not trying to hear that. There's guys you can see. There's an 18-year-old who's tall. You can tell he's got pimples all over his face and everything. 18-year-old still going through puberty, as opposed to the guy he's guarding who looks like a grown-ass man. There's completely different. Bodies filled out, big-ass beard, like I said, hair thinning. It's completely different. I don't know what's going on, all right, but it's something. I can't put my finger on it yet, but it's something. What we've seen throughout this tournament it's been a great weekend for tournaments. It's been nothing but excitement. Especially here, a lot of people are still talking about NCAA basketball, and I understand that it was been the St. Patty's Day weekend. People were out and they were drinking, and Notre Dame lost on St. Patty's Day weekend, so it was kind of funny. And then, of course, Nova got eliminated. So I understand there's a number of people who stopped talking about NCAA basketball, but majority of people still watch NCAA basketball. Now, here's the thing. With the media here, they've stopped reporting it altogether. Once Villanova was eliminated, that was it. That was it. They just stopped altogether. They don't even talk about the damn thing anymore. And then you try to move on to the Sixers, and everyone's just like, who cares about the Sixers? March Madness is going on right now. You know what I mean? That's better basketball. What's wrong with you? So it's interesting to see how the media is playing it. Because if a local's not in it, then they don't care anymore. They just don't care. And it's like, no, it goes to show you, when it comes to the media, they will only find the big stories. But even when you try to talk to the sports guys that are in the media, they're the same way. So it also makes you think, okay, well, they're not even watching it on their off time. You know what I mean? Just for fun because you're a sports fan. No, they don't care. So it tells me that they're not really, not NCAA fans, but they're just not sports fans in general. But it's their job. So they only do it as a job and really don't understand what's going on. And I'm sure you've seen time and time again, every time I see a sports guy say something, I I'd go after them about it because they're not paying attention, because it almost feels like they don't really like what they're watching, I guess. I don't know how to put it. However, when it comes to the media, I guess we need to talk about this, all right? When it comes to the media, commentators, that's right. It goes to show the level of professionalism that these guys have gone through time and time again, especially when you're getting hit in the face by balls.
But there was one a little. Oh, that hurts on replay.
That's one that we didn't expect for some incoming just then.
It's a tougher sport than I thought. That was Tavon Myers, number 0 at the time. I got him back.
I know you did.
I went out and tore his jersey so he had to change to number 22.
Good point.
You got to come tough and ready in these games.
We weren't prepared on that one, my friend. I didn't see that coming at all.
No.
Come on, man. He was number 0 at the time, but I went out tore his jersey. I wore number 22. Come on, man. Oh, my God. The level of professionalism, it goes to show you that regardless what happens during these games at times, when you have commentators, no matter how bad things happen to them, they can still take it with, and they have a sense of humor. I've said this before, I'll say it again. Regardless how serious you take things, it's always good to be able to laugh at yourself from time to time. You know what I mean? And that was definitely a time to do it. I felt that was the absolute best response you could probably have to something like that happening. So, but yeah, all around the board, hilarious as far as I'm concerned. But I'll tell you something that's not hilarious. Because within all this basketball, March Madness this week, you know that there was going to be some floppers, right? Yeah. Let's look at the Griffin Force flop of the week when it goes to NCAA basketball. And watch how violently this guy flops himself, because he's not really hit that hard. But watch how his head hits the damn ground. Hits the hardwood, I should say. You can see in the clip, the guy wasn't like a brick wall. He ran into him and he was actually backing up like this. And he actually arced his body a bit. So there was space to get around. But he still ran to him and then decided to just throw himself on the ground. Head hits the damn hardwood. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's just laying there for a while. And the guy just takes over, takes the ball and runs down the other side of the court. Which he's supposed to do. Unless they're going to call a blocking foul. Which doesn't look like they did in this situation. So, free play. Go ahead, do what you gotta do. But the fact that you would do something like that and throw yourself on the ground to draw a foul like that is absolutely ridiculous. Speaking of things that are ridiculous, I guess I need to move on. Let's talk about football overseas. Let's talk about the EPL, shall we? Chelsea. I had a chance to sit and watch Chelsea versus Stoke this weekend. And let me say this now. I was very disappointed. I was very upset, to be honest. Okay, because this game, how can I put this? It was a flop fest. It was. It was absolutely horrible. I just felt as though both teams did not play that hard, and they were too busy worried about physicality and throwing themselves on the ground. So, for me, it really stood out as a bad game. Now, of course, Chelsea scores. Okay, high fives all around for us Chelsea fans. But then you called this penalty on Cahill a pushing penalty, which gives them a penalty kick. Makes no sense, because Cahill, when you watch the play again, Cahill doesn't even extend his arms. He's literally like this. And they call it a pushing penalty. I'm like, come on, he barely touched the guy. But okay, they get the goal or whatever. Throughout the rest of this game, nothing but falling, nothing but flailing, nothing but flopping. You got guys who are getting attitudes because they flopped, or because they felt as though they were hit slightly, and they fall on the ground, and they want to argue. They spend more time arguing than they did actually playing. To me, it just didn't go well. And then, of course, Chelsea scored again. We won the game. But that's not the point. The point is that this is a game you're going up against Stoke, which, of course, Stoke at this point, they're just like, we need to get some points, and we want to play hard. And, of course, Chelsea being the leaders at the top of the table, at this point, you just keep winning. You have to just keep winning. If you want the title, you have to just keep winning. To keep those points, to keep that point difference, that vast point difference as far as I'm concerned. Because you don't want to collapse and then have a couple bad games and then that's it. And Tottenham's right back there. So, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, this game was just, I wasn't very happy with it. Yes, we got the win. Yes, we scored. Because when we scored, the last goal, I was like, well, it's about damn time. But because they had a number of chances and they just couldn't put it in the net. But that goalkeeper was not great for Stoke. I don't know. That goalkeeper's horrible. He's horrible. Like, I don't even understand it. It doesn't matter. The fact is, I was not very happy with the game. I was not happy with the quality of play that Chelsea put out there, due to the fact that, like I said, the flopping kind of marred everything. It got to a point where guys were just getting yellow cards. And let me tell you this now, okay? At near the end of the game, because Stoke fans are salty as fuck, all right? They're salty because there's no way I could be watching a stream that a Stoke fan has put on, and then he curses us out in the stream because we're winning, near the end. Curses us out, Chelsea fans, turns off the stream, okay, because he's salty as hell. And it was like, okay, like you just turned off the stream because you're mad because you lost. But your player, near the end of the game, goes after one of our guys. And he gets the red card and gets tossed off. Mind you, there was 14 seconds left in the game. 14 seconds, and you go and pull some crass bullshit like that. Are you serious? You really decided to try and do something? Yeah, get tossed. It just goes to show you that emotions were running high, but that's absolutely ridiculous. It's 14 seconds left in the game. Granted, we're in your zone. It almost looks like we're getting ready to score. We're really not. It's 14 seconds. We're already up. And you go and pull a bush league play like that it's unacceptable. It just is. And I'm tired of seeing those type of things. I really am. Of course, we're going to move on from that. But I will say the rest of the EPL, it's had an interesting time. We've talked about the tables before and who will get relegated. And last we talked was Leicester City, who looked like they were getting relegated. But now they seem to have had some type of good football play as of late in the previous couple of weeks. So let's look at the table now as where everyone stands. So you've got Hull, Middlesbrough, who just lost to Manchester United. I believe they lost 3-1 or something like that. And Sunderland. I literally think that these are the teams that are going to be relegated. I don't see Swansea dropping down. I just don't see it. I think Swansea's going to hold their place, and of course above Swansea is Leicester City, which are playing, like I said, good football. So I really don't think that you're going to see any movement when it comes to the bottom of the table at this point. I really don't want to see Hull go. I really don't. But if they got to, then they got to. You know what I mean? Middlesbrough, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? Sunderland, given what's happened with Sunderland, okay, fine. You know what I mean? But I don't want to see Hull go away so quickly. But, hey, it is what it is, right? Like I said, I don't think, even though we still got some time left in the EPL, I don't think that these things are going to change. I don't think that these standings are going to change anytime soon. I just think at this point, this late in the season, everyone's going to be playing hard, especially to stay out of relegation. Those guys who are in relegation will stay there. I just think they will. All right? But let's move on, shall we? I said I wasn't going to talk much about the Sixers, and I'm not, okay? However, something does need to be addressed, okay? It does. Sixers, all right? And this is Groupon. How do you send me 50% off of tickets? Because clearly you're not getting it. There's not enough fanfare because we've seen the stands. Oh, we've had this much, they always talk about when you watch Sixers games on CSN or wherever you watch it from. Like I said, at this point, I watch them on NBA League Pass. They always talk about the attendance. And they always talk about, since the Sixers are winning as of late, we have huge numbers when it comes to attendance. The best numbers we've had in a long time. Matter of fact, we're going to be having more season ticket holders, and we just saw what happened with season ticket holders not too long ago. So we talked about that a couple weeks ago. But I find it funny that you would run this type of deal, and even with this type of deal, you still can't get me to buy tickets. So for $49, I can get a pair of tickets. That's how cheap they are now, all right? Just to let you know that. That's crazy. And I say this not because I'm a fan, I won't support them. But like I said, I don't like the way the front office has run this thing. So until the front office gets their shit together, don't expect me to go to any Sixers games. And the thing is, I really do want to go to the games. I do. I just choose not to due to the fact I got to stick with my convictions, man. If you're going to try and play us fans and give us some type of dog and pony show and have a silver lining for every time you win or lose. No, I'm sorry. When you lose, there's a silver lining. When you win, it's absolutely hyped through the roof. No. We've seen how this is going. All right? I'm not buying into it. And until you stop this fake pandering, I'm not going to come to your games. I'm just not. I got a whole ton of Sixers gear over there I could wear going to the games. Ton of it. Not wearing it. Like I said, I'll wear it outside. Not wearing it to the game because I'm not going to the game because of the way you act. When you guys decide, when you get a legit squad, I'm not trying to hear, I got to wait till Simmons comes. I'm not trying to hear all that. I'm not. Like I said before, Embiid played 34 games. You're already comparing him, Slam Magazine already comparing him to Iverson. We saw that last week. You know what I mean? Like, no. I'm not buying into this bullshit. I'm just not. And as far as I'm concerned, it's absolutely disgusting to see the way. Like I said, this week has been a little calm, like I said, because everyone's worried about March Madness. No one gives a shit about the Sixers. But when March Madness ends, all right, you know how this is going to go. And granted, by then, NBA playoffs will be starting soon. We won't have to worry about it too much, or have started already, depending on how schedules go. But that's one thing I'm just not a fan of. I'm not. I put it like this. I would rather pay good tickets for Summer League for the Sixers, all right, because they actually ball at Summer League. I would rather wait until Summer League, this year, and go to a Summer League game as opposed to a Sixers game now. Because it's not about basketball. It's not. It's about entertainment. It's about bullshit. And we just saw not too long ago, they had the old people out there, during the halftime show, doing the dancing and gyrating and carrying on, and people was like, nope, don't want any more of this. Like, the entertainment factor has taken over in Sixers basketball as opposed to actual basketball, and I can't deal with that. The only entertainment factor I want to see at the Sixers game is the Sixers dance squad, because them chicks have been getting it in, and they hot as shit. But I put it like this, the dunk squad or whatever they have, trash. Absolute. You can do without them. You really can. Don't need them. All right. Anyone who's watched, like I said, if you watch the NBA League Pass, they show you the acts in every game. So if you watch a game, let's say on Monday, and the next game is Wednesday, you're going to see the same things with the dunk squad on Wednesday that you saw on Monday. Same tricks, same everything, same pattern. Okay, these two people did this dunk. Now the guy and girl's going to do do the back handsprings and stuff. It's the same thing over and over. It's the same pattern. It gets stale, and you've been doing that all season. Like I said, I don't believe in trampoline dunking anyway. I really don't, unless you're a mascot. I'll give it to the mascots, all right, because of all the stuff they're wearing. But just regular people running and doing it now, why? I don't understand that. Like, that's just me. That's just me to say. For a form of entertainment, like I said, you don't need as much entertainment. And if you're going to get some entertainment, then go out there and get somebody who can really entertain. Anybody who's been seeing like the Orlando Magic shows or Atlanta Hawks shows, there's times where they'll bring a guy out, or even even Milwaukee with the Bucks. They'll bring a guy out who decides to just do like he's a contortionist, or there's another guy who will stack a bunch of chairs all the way, damn near all the way up to the to like mid, like I'm gonna say second level maybe, and doing handstands and stuff on them. Like that, I can understand. You know what I mean? Because that takes some guts, that takes some death-defying stuff, as opposed to always jumping on trampolines in your face, always. It's stupid. And then try to get hype about it. Why are you getting hype? You're jumping off a trampoline. I made this dunk. Yeah, well, you did it yesterday. Why are you so hype? I don't get it. And I'm sure these guys who have done this stuff, who perfected this stuff, they've done it for years upon years upon years. So I don't understand the illusion of hype when you come to the crowd. Now, mind you, it could entertain possibly the kids, you know what I mean? If there's kids there. First off, you shouldn't be having kids at a basketball game at 7, 8 o'clock at night anyway. They should be in bed, all right? That's just me. You shouldn't have kids. When I mean kids, I'm talking like 4 or 5 years old. They don't need to be at the game at 11 o'clock knowing they got school tomorrow. That's a bunch of crap, all right? But maybe it entertains the kids. I can't see adults getting, or even basketball players in general, street balls, getting excited over guys jumping on trampolines and doing this, literally these same dunks, these same acts, these same things, same pattern over and over and over. That's just me. Like I said, stop with the bullshit, Sixers, with the entertainment, and give us basketball. You'll see more people come. You will. Now I want to move on to boxing. And I know some of you say, well, you're going to talk about Golovkin versus Jacobs. No, I'm not. I'm not going to talk about that due to the fact that I want to double up next week. Talk about Golovkin, Jacobs, and then another fight. So I'll double up next week on that. The reason I'm talking about boxing is because a number of you had asked me some questions about boxing, and then one of you had asked me, how the kid was doing that I was training. All right, so and that's a weird fucking story. So I'll start with the questions first. One of you had asked me, how do you throw an effective jab? Now, when you throw an effective jab, mind you, it's not just you setting up and throwing a jab from the arm. Mind you, every punch that you throw comes from the hips. So when you throw that jab, you turn your hip a little bit. You throw that secondary punch, you turn that hip a little bit. Why? Because that's where your power comes from. Your speed comes from. It comes from the hips. Because if you're fighting, you're just flat-footed and your hips aren't moving, you're throwing those punches for rounds on top of rounds on top of rounds. I'll go like this. If you throw punches in succession for, I'm going to say at least, if you're trained, I'm going to say for at least a round and a half, maybe 2 rounds, depending on your weight class, you'll burn your arms out. you will burn your arms out. You won't have anything left in the tank for your arms. They'll be so inflamed. Your shoulders will be so inflamed, you won't be able to do anything. That's why you lead with the hip. You go with the hip first, the punch comes second. That's where the torque comes from, okay? Now, second question was, how do you do effective footwork? Personally, I would say there's a number of footwork drills on YouTube that you can look at. But in order to even get your stamina up to do specific footwork, I would say first do rotational work. Now, for those who don't know what rotational work is, it's going into the ring, all right, getting your hands up, and rotating around the ring the correct way, all right? Your feet shouldn't be but so close to each other. They should be pretty wide, all right? Almost like you're galloping from side to side, almost, all right? Imagine a block of wood between your feet when you're doing that, because you want to rotate it around the ring, and then, of course, at times you're going to have to rotate the other way. Now, of course, clockwise, counterclockwise. I would say do this for 2 to 3 rounds, all right? You're going to, like, if you're not used to this, you're going to feel a lot of burn in the arches of your feet, if you have arches, because some people are flat-footed, and you're going to feel a burn in your in your calves. You will feel that, okay? So that's one thing. Mind you, like I said, pace yourselves. But mind you, once you get to the 30-second bell before the round ends, you should always go hard. Because for those who don't know, when you were fighting, all right, even if you're losing a round, when that last 30 seconds is coming up, when the 30-second bell or a little, thing goes off, if you fight hard for those 30 seconds, you actually have a chance to sway the judges that you won the round. All right? Because that's what they remember. Remember, people always remember the thing they saw last as opposed to the thing they saw first. Unless it was something so dynamic they can't get over it. You know what I mean? Always what you see last. So if the judges see that you're getting beat up on the first, let's just say the first minute of, the round, the second minute is, or the second minute and a half, I should say, is just, ho-hum. But those last 30 seconds, you pour it on, they're like, okay, he may have just won that round. Or they could say, well, maybe it could be a split round, depending. It'll be hard to judge, depending on your judges. It's how you influence people with the last 30 seconds. That's why you're supposed to see guys go all out in the last 30 seconds of every round. Okay? So, let's go on to one more question. I have one more question. All right? Some of you guys want to know how to, effectively bob and weave. Now, of course, there are a number of drills for this. You know what I mean? We have drills where you have a guy you've probably seen this before, but he has these little foam tubes. And regardless if you're throwing punches, he will use these tubes to swing at you to make sure that you're bobbing and weaving. Personally, I wouldn't say, look, I put it like this. If you're not used to bobbing and weaving yet, the first step you shouldn't be worried about bobbing and weaving. Your first step is to make sure that you have defense. All right, because you can always roll off of that punch. If your hands are here, and a guy's throwing a punch, you can roll off of that punch, transfer that energy, and throw it right back at him. You know what I mean? Depending. Or you just have the guard where you know how to parry. It depends. So as far as I'm concerned, I wouldn't say do this with a trainer. You may see some trainers who do this all the time. They're just like, and you see some trainers who really don't know what they're doing. The best part about this is if you get longer tubes, foam tubes, is to put a person on the heavy bag, right? Stand behind the heavy bag. Now, what you want to do is, of course, you have the tubes in your hand. Let that person go at that heavy bag, all right? And then as they're going, check them with the tubes. So you make sure if he's going to throw this punch, his hand has to be up because you're checking here. Same way. Same thing. Vice versa. Every time. You can even go at the stomach if you want to. Make sure their elbows are in so that they can take that shot. Because for those who don't know, when people fight, you may see some people who fight like this, or some guys, they'll put their hands up, but their elbows are out. You have to understand, the reason why we tell you to put your elbows in is because if someone throws a body shot while your hands are in with your elbows in, your elbow can catch that punch. All right? That's to stop the body shot. Let alone if a guy throws it right and you put that elbow down there right, you can actually mess up their hand, you can mess up their wrist. It actually really destroys their hand. So I'm just letting you know that. So that is a thing. All right? Like I said, defense is very critical when it comes to fighting. So, with that said, you make sure that your elbows are in because you have to understand, when people throw that punch and they go for that body shot, do you know what the next punch is? Your next punch when a guy goes for a body shot, over the top. Right there. It's a big hole. When a guy goes low like this, say he's going for a body shot here, all that right here, guess what? It's automatic. That's the trade. All right? So if you have any more questions, by all means, I don't have a problem showing you. Maybe I should start bringing back the videos, instructional videos, where I show you guys some stuff and some training methods. I guess I could possibly do that. Start bringing the camera back into the gym because they'll let me with no problem. You know what I mean? But Yeah, let me know what you think about it first, and if you're okay with that, then I'll start recording again. It's not a problem. Now I want to move on to you said you want to know about the kid. Okay, so let's get into this. This is quite a bullshit story, which I do not like, to be honest. All right. Kid has, as you know, he's been trained under me. He's been training under me for like a year. Still trains with me, all right? And I'm going to tell you exactly why and what happened, okay? So, as you know, the kid is 17 years old, has to work, when he's not boxing. And, he also has family to take care of, who, if you ask me, his mom is great, very supportive. His dad, not so much. All right, it's gotten to a point where I feel as though I need to say something to his dad because he'll come home from training and his dad's the type of person who's a boxing enthusiast but has never boxed. So when he talks to his dad about what training methods that I've run him through that day, he'll be like, "What is he doing with you?" Blah blah blah, and it's like, "Bruh, shut up! I know what I'm doing. This is my job." You know what I mean? So yeah, and I've always said if he has a problem, how I'm training, come on in. If you think you know so much, come on in. Show me what you know. Show me what you know. Because he doesn't really, he always gets on his kid for not doing something right. I guess he expects perfection. And I have to keep telling him, you can't listen to him because he's going to end up living his life through you. And that's not what we want. You know what I mean? That's not what you should have to do. You know what I mean? That's way too much pressure. Especially for a kid who's not going pro. He's not. Just putting that out there. Not going pro. He doesn't want to go pro. So, here's the thing. All right? At his job, a guy came in who's at another, we'll just say a prominent boxing gym, all right? Very well-known, old-school boxing gym. And he found out he was a boxer because the kid's a waiter. You know what I mean? He's 17, he's just making some money. You know what I mean? He's just trying to get by. And he finds out the kid's, that he somehow got into this conversation about it. Told him he was a boxer, or trying to box. And kind of gave him the hard sell and wanted him to come over to his gym. You know what I mean? Now, I've dealt with this before with people, and I've told him before, they're going to promise you the world. That's what they do. He was like, yeah, we're going to set you up for golden gloves and blah, blah, blah. And they're talking about they're going to set him up for all this stuff. And when he told me this, I had said to him, I was like, we can do that here. We've done that here. Except more popular gym, right? Okay. So you go with the more name. That's what you do. So I told him at the time, I said, if you want to go over there and see what they're about, go ahead. Because if they're going to promise you the world and they're legit about it and they're really going to do it, you don't pass up this type of opportunity. You just don't do it. And he was like, but I want you to, and he said, I want you to come with me during these trainings. I was like, if you go over there, I'm not going to be your trainer anymore. They have a trainer for you. You know what I mean? That's just how it is. That's how they work. They're not going to let you bring in your own trainer. They have their own. No, that's not how it works. You know what I mean? So he was very discouraged about that. You know what I mean? He didn't know what to do. And I told him, look, I was like, you don't have to quit here, but go over there and see what they're about. You know what I mean? Go see what they're about, get the experience, see if you like it. So for a month he went over there. Needless to say, he's already back with us. Went over there and they treated him like absolute shit. They treated him like a piece of meat. First, they didn't think that he could fight. And then when they put him in the ring with a kid and he cut the kid to pieces. And they were like, who trained you? Who trained you? And he was like, I've been trying to tell you, I have my own trainer. So that reflects on me, which means I'm doing my fucking job. You know what I mean? That's great. Don't have a problem with that. Now, here's the thing. They treat him like meat so much. I put it like this. There's, every gym you go to, there's written rules and there's unwritten rules. As you know, show some respect, things like that. Don't treat your fighters like a piece of fucking meat, blah, blah, blah. Take them seriously. And if they're feeling down at the time, you bring them back up. You have to keep their confidence going. Consistency and confidence. That's the job of a trainer, okay? There's a day he got hurt at that gym. Now, usually when you get hurt, and this goes for all boxers, and anyone can vouch for me for this one, when you're hurt, as long as you're able to walk, you walk back into your fucking gym, all right? If you're hurt, you're not going to do anything physical. You're going to sit there, and you're going to be around everything, and you're going to learn from people as you're watching the other guys fight, all right? That's when you're hurt. If you're sick, as long as it's not super contagious or whatever, if you got the flu, don't keep your ass home. No one wants to get sick. But if you got a cough or whatever, come in. You may get a little bit of light work, or if you're really not feeling, if you're feeling under the weather, sit your ass down and watch and learn and ask questions. That's what you do. You're constantly learning. That's what it's about. When he got hurt there, and he told them, he's like, I'm hurt. They told him, they was like, don't come in. We have no need for you. Don't come in. And when he told me that, I was like, they're not even going to let you come in and sit in and watch and ask questions. He was like, no, they wouldn't even let him come in. They said, don't even bother. Don't even waste your time. Don't bother. That was strike one. Strike two. He goes in there, and he goes with the trainer. Actually, I would consider this 2 and 3, as far as I'm concerned, all right? Because when you're training with guys and you're sparring with your own students, you should know how much power to use. Now, mind you, this kid is 120 pounds, okay? He's grown a bit, all right? I put some muscle on the kid, actually. He actually lost weight. I had him at 135, all right? Because I actually had him filling out, and they dropped him back down to 120. That quick, all right? So they told him at first that they weren't going to let him back in the ring until he starts taking his running more seriously, which is understandable. You earn everything you get. However, if a guy is in there and he has to understand first why you won't let him in. So if you put him in the ring and he gets beat, he'll understand, okay, I have a lot of work ahead of me. But the fact that he's just saying, no, I didn't go running today, oh, well, then you just can't get in the ring because you didn't go running. The kid has school, the kid has work, the kid has family, and the kid has a girlfriend. When do you expect him to all of a sudden run every day? Huh? You supposed to do it on his lunch break? Huh? Is that how he's supposed to do it? So yeah, makes no sense, right? Mind you, for a 17-year-old, he's very busy. So I had said to him, anytime you want to come and spar here, you're more than happy to spar. But, like I said, strike 2 and 3 coming up. This is the third one. So they put him in the ring with his new trainer, right? Guy's 185 pounds. He's my size, all right? 48-year-old guy. He's got old man strength. And he's not built like me, where it's an athletic 185. You know what I mean? No, we're talking about a guy who's pretty much a ball of muscle, stays in one spot, and will just throw bombs at you. At 120 pounds, this guy is hitting the shit out of this kid. All right? This is what he told me. He's hitting him so hard to the point, mind you, he's a 17-year-old kid. He's hitting him so hard to the point that when he gets home to do homework, he can't focus on homework. Because his head is killing him, his body is killing him, he's been beat to shit. We're not talking sparring. No, that's not sparring, all right? That's a fight. That's different, all right? You should know as a trainer, all right, the strength that you have, the control, the punch that you have. You can get your point across to your student without hurting them, all right, if you know how to control your punches. Now, look, you can damage. If you know how to control your punch, there's a difference. For example, anyone who's ever watched Bruce Lee stuff, all right, in his teachings, you can get the same power from a 1-inch punch than you can from cocking your arm all the way back and throwing that punch. You get the same power, all right, if you know what you're doing. Same thing with boxing, okay? You know how to check a guy in the ring when you're training him. Mind you, they're offering this kid the world. Smoke matches, for those who don't know what smoke matches are, that's when you go to different gyms to fight, all right, different people, all right? You get experience. Golden gloves, they want to set him up for golden gloves. If this is your guy that you are setting for golden gloves, you should not be having a 185-pound, 48-year-old trainer who's got a vast amount of experience pounding on a 17-year-old kid who's 120 pounds. Now he can't do his homework because he can't focus, and then he can't focus the next day going to school because he's too hurt. Bullshit. Bullshit. So when he told me that, of course, I got upset. Send me over there. Because we're not having that shit. No, we're not having that shit at all. You know what I mean? That's absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, as a trainer, you have a responsibility to your students. Look, okay, I'm going to put a little on you, but I'm not going to hurt you to the point where you can't even do your fucking homework, so then what? Then he's in trouble at school? This kid is not doing this pro. He's only doing it just to say, hey, I did this at an amateur pace, and I did Golden Gloves, a couple tournaments, and then he wants to stop. That's it. He's got college coming up. You know what I mean? He wants to go into IT and stuff like that. He's not taking this. He's not taking it to the point where he's going to go all pro. You know what I mean? And that's what they're doing to him. They're just beating him up and then sending him home for him to come back and beat him up some more. And that's not going to happen. At least not as long as I have to say so. So when he told me that, you know I had a lot to say about that. What I'm telling you is exactly what I'm telling you. They should be fucking ashamed of themselves over there. And the excuse I heard, because, he wants to try and protect them as much as possible. It's, they're still good guys. They really care about their guys. No, they don't. No, they don't. I understand you're being protected because they're trainers. All right? But when they won't even let you come in when you're hurt just for you to learn some things, just by sitting there and focusing and understanding and analyzing and seeing holes in other opponents and what the fuck is going on, then no, they don't care. Not to mention beating you to fuck up. No, that's not how a trainer does things, and I don't want to hear how old school they are. That's absolutely ridiculous. You're a 17-year-old kid, and you have school, and you have a number of responsibilities. No, we're not having that. needless to say, he's back with us. And he gets the same training. Like I said, he was over there for a month. He picked up 1 or 2 new things. That's it. Things that we could have taught him. You know what I mean? But we didn't feel as though he was ready for that. Now, mind you, you've seen the videos where I put this kid against bigger guys. And like I said, guys that are a lot bigger than him. Guys who are 185 pounds. And at no time are they trying to kill that kid. Control. Because that's what you teach first. Control. There's a difference between putting a guy in a fucking hospital, and there's a difference between, like I said, getting your point across to what they did wrong while they're boxing, and say, this is what you did wrong, this has got to be cleaned up. He's told me he's been on that canvas so many times, they've knocked him down. His trainer has knocked him down so many times on that canvas, it's ridiculous. No. Of course you have to understand, okay, get knocked down, how are you going to react when he gets up? But when your trainer is punching you as if, like I said, like it's a real fight, not a boxing match, a street fight, there's a problem. He's hauling off on you, there's a problem. And I have a big problem with that. But like I said, I don't have to worry about that anymore because, like I said, he's back with us now. And he wants to go Golden Gloves, that's not a problem. Like I said, we got the connections, that's not a problem. We've got a number of guys getting ready to compete. A number. So y'all have to understand, when I do these videos now, you notice you've been getting them, it's Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever. Yeah, it's because I'm very busy. I'm doing a lot of 2-a-days at the gym. A lot at the facility. And it's not just boxing. Monday boxing, 2-a-day boxing. I got, now I'm teaching, I'm helping teach, Muay Thai fighters. Because they're getting ready to compete on Tuesdays. Then on Wednesdays, boxing again. Then on Thursdays, jiu-jitsu, because guys are getting ready for competition. So I'm rolling with them and getting ready for them. Then on Fridays, jiu-jitsu. So my week is jam-packed. And of course I'm getting paid for all this, but it's hard to keep that going on top of putting the videos out, on top of doing, I got a lot going on. But you have to understand that's why these videos are being constructed the way they are these days. It's just tougher these days. It just is. But I'll keep you updated on. Like I said, if you want, I'll start taking the camera and I'll start putting it back in the facility. You guys can see some sparring if you want. You guys can see how people are moving as opposed to the older videos that you saw, and see if there was any improvement within those fighters if you want. That's not a problem whatsoever. They always ask when I bring back in the camera. Like I said, I was just wondering if you guys were interested. If you're not interested, then I won't do it. Usually if I bring in the cameras for private stuff, and then what I'll do is I'll put the file on my iPad, and then I'll sit down with said fighter, and I'll review it with them via iPad so they can see it while I'm talking to them about it. Yeah, it's one thing, while they're, listen to your corner man while you're in the ring, and I'm talking to them, and then afterwards give them some feedback or whatever, but to actually see it, on an iPad, and, bigger up, blow it up so they can see it, and then actually tell them, stop it and say, okay, see that hold? That's what you did wrong. This is what I do, man. This is what I do. And I take it very seriously. So yeah, by all means, you guys got any more questions or anything you need help with, let me know. It's not a problem. I can show you some things. I can have some, some fighters demonstrate some things. If you really want to see something, really bad, let me know. Not a problem. Anyways, I'm done for the week. I will talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. We'll see what happens for the rest of the week because of March Madness. Talk to you then. I'm out.